Hello, beautiful people. My name is Kristen. Thank you for coming by my channel today. I am responding to Jack from Spread Book Joy's video about the evolution of book reading. And I really appreciate and have been enjoying listening to kind of the bookish journey of people, if you will. And it is fun to reflect and think about the earliest memories from the very beginning, getting to choose a book from the library when you were even in preschool, going to story time at the library, having your teachers at the earliest age do stories, and how excited and what a good part of the day that was for me. I would love going over to sit at the teacher's feet and getting to hear the story and see the pictures and wait for whatever it was that was being read to unfold. And I would get really upset when we would run out of time in the classroom for the story, right? And my parents were both avid readers. I would witness them sitting in a book or sitting with a book each evening, or most evenings anyway. Buying books was a super priority, and I want to know in the comment below if you were part of that Scholastic book fair craze. I think it was particularly big in the States, like in the 80s, but maybe it was worldwide, or you had something like this where a company comes in to a school and offers books at a mass publishing rate, and then you even get to earn points by how much money or how many books you spend to like get stickers or posters or like bookmarks or like little fringe reading benefits. And you would get catalogs and you would list which ones you wanted, and then there would be a limited number of each thing, so you were really vying to get there pretty early and get the books that you wanted. And they had, you know how books have a particular new book smell, but those books had a particular Scholastic book fair smell. I don't know if anybody else experienced this or feels this, but I just do. And so I just love that. I've always equated reading with very positive associations. My earliest reading was things like Stuart Little and Charlotte's Web and Mrs. Pigglewiggle, and all of those kind of books were kind of the ones that I read on my own first. I really fell passionately in love with The Secret Garden, with some of those early adventure story, Wind in the Willows, those kind of things. In middle school and high school, I really got into my probably lowest reading ever. I read for school, and books became almost like more a chore than reading for pleasure. It was very infrequently that I would read for pleasure, although that I think it was middle school that I actually reread some of the books like Chronicles of Narnia and Wrinkle in Time and all those kind of books, as well as the end of elementary and beginning of middle school. I did read a lot of the Judy Blume books. I remember that. But then I got very distracted from books. And that was also when MTV first hit the scene, and it was actually music videos and, some documentaries and those kind of things. So that kind of took over a little bit. And I moved from the lower 48 to Alaska during that time period. So it was a lot going on that also affected my reading, because honestly, shipping wasn't what it was now. There was no Amazon. There was really not even internet at that point. And trying to get access to books was more limited. I do remember George Orwell being a really big deal, because in 1984, he had written 1984, and that was that time. And so that was the big rage in the bookstore, but I didn't read it at that time. My mom thought that it was too dramatic or adult for me to read that one right then, and suggested Animal Farm, which I read Animal Farm. So that was kind of that. In college, I got really into wanting to read Christian-based books. And so I read all the Frankie Peretti, This Present Darkness, all of those kind of things. I read all the Left Behind books. I read, anything that was Christian-based in addition to my school reading. And then when I got out, I would read things that I would go on an adventure and hunt and use bookstores or into, the secondhand stores, and just look for books that appealed to me. And what ended up happening, I discovered I got very passionate about reading and getting very excited about finding those hidden gems. But I would have to read a lot of books that were really just not my jam or what I wanted them to be before I would find the really great book. And so in evolution of how Booktube has really changed, that has been just totally leading me to the books that I'm more interested in, discovering authors that I'm more interested in. My quality of reading, of like how I rate books and how much I enjoy books, has gone up monumentally. The amount of books, because I found so many that I'm so excited about. And when I get excited about things, I set high goals and then I try to achieve those. So that has been the progression of, reading, Booktube. Yeah, and so I answered the prompts, which I'm going to go ahead and it's not officially a tag, but I'm going to tag some people, but it's basically what you've read, how you've read, and honestly, physical books has been how I've read all of these. That hasn't changed. How much, and then how has Booktube influenced you? And I will leave that in the description. I want to call out Ben at Overly Average Ben. I don't know that you do a lot of tags, but I think if you haven't seen his channel, he does a lot of really creative things and little skits and little kind of plays on realities of reading and of authors, but then makes it kind of funny and fun. And so I think you would actually have a lot of fun with this and explaining your history. And read it again, BJ. He hasn't posted in a couple months, and maybe this is a good way to give an update and maybe how the reading is going or changing or any of that kind of stuff. So miss your videos and your travel. If you are interested in like particularly over in the Bible and Holy Lands and the books and the studies around that, you should definitely check out his channel. It is wonderful. And I am going to, as always, tag my good friend Michelle at Books Cause Insomnia, because I always enjoy her stories and she's one of my best Booktube buddies. And if you haven't checked out her channel, it will definitely be a good time, because she has one of the sweetest personalities for just telling a story and keeping it real and sharing her life and her animals. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and tag Nicole at Dusty Book Sniffers. I don't think you necessarily do a lot of tags that I see, but you do a lot of good reviews, and just think that it would be interesting to see that evolution, because you also kind of have that kind of fantasy-esque background that I like to follow along. So I'd like to hear more about how that developed. Or if you're just watching this and you haven't done it yet, feel free to pick it up and do it. You can leave the original tag linked below. I'll leave that in the description with the prompts. Hope that everybody, wherever you are in your reading life and cycle, is just finding things that are just bringing you a lot of joy and learning and creativity, and a fun place to enter the book. So thank you for stopping by. I appreciate if you like these, like and subscribe. Hope to see you again soon. Bye now.